of visual teaching. Can you hear me? Is everything okay with the sound? Yes, okay. Yeah. Okay. I would love to share my screen now. So it's going, and I'm going to play it on a full screen. So I won't be able to see you. So if anything you would like to ask or say, just say it out loud. I won't be able to see your faces or signs. So, okay, just tell me, please, if there is anything with, okay. Okay, so. Okay. Do you see the shared screen now? Yes? Yeah. Okay, okay. So today we're going, as I told you, we're going to experiment a little bit with the basics of visual teaching. Hope you prepared stuff to write. Everyone asked you already a couple of times, so you have the things for drawing with yourself. Okay. So I thought for these 40 minutes, well, what we hopefully are going to be able to do is first just to mark why is drawing important, or why drawing might be very useful in the work of a teacher. But this we're going to pass really very fast, because I think all of us have this understanding that drawing might be very helpful in teaching. And then the core part of today's session is going to be a really fast crash course on the basics of visual teaching. So really we're going to experiment with some basic elements to gain the taste of it. And then I hope we do have 5 minutes left or 10 minutes left to do kind of a brainstorming, small brainstorming session once after you have tried out these techniques, just to exchange some ideas, some really spontaneous ideas on how we might be able to use this method in everyday teaching. Okay. Okay, this is the agenda from my side. And why drawing? Why drawing? I think we all know that. Anyway, we don't need to talk a lot about this, but we all, when we think of specific concepts, we very seldomly, or very few of us, see words written. What we all see are images in our minds. So we all work with visuals. We're all visual, and that's just a fact. So everyone knows the saying that one picture says 1,000 words. And just let's see an example. If we see the word challenge written, let's just compare how we feel, how we experience the word compared to an image added to the word. I think we all can feel and see the difference, what a challenge, for instance, might look like. Okay, expressed with a very simple problem. Okay. So another advantage of using spontaneous hand-drawn images is that we don't need to look in visual data banks. Like we all know, I think sometimes the frustration when we have to illustrate something, we're searching sometimes minutes and hours for a single image. And if we do have this skill, we can carry it everywhere with us. We can improvise, we can have a planned usage to illustrate a specific process, and then we actually only do need a marker, something to write, and then we can spontaneously express it whenever we need it. So it's just in our hands, in our minds, in our heart. Okay. So this is why for me visual teaching is a really easy hands-on approach, which can be very enriching for the process of teaching. And one last quote. First off, drawing is not art. Drawing is thinking. If I can't picture it, I can't understand it. Can you guess who this quote is by? Who's the author? Or maybe you've heard it. Okay, maybe an image would help. Okay. Okay, Albert Einstein has said it, that if I can't picture it, I can't understand it. So it's really more about having the metaphor, having the simple image in our minds, and then once we know we can draw it, we can also use it. So this is, with this, we covered the first point of the first topic in our agenda, why drawing is important. And now we go to the crash course. So as any method, as any subject, visual teaching or visual expression also has its some very basic theory, let's say. What's included in this skill, or which elements we might find very useful. What do we need to know to draw in order to use this process, let's say, to use this method? So first, it's icons. We do need small icons, but these are symbols for diverse meanings. Like, for instance, I don't know, a light bulb for idea, or I don't know, a cup for a coffee break, or whatever. We do need icons. We also very often need people, to know how to draw people in order to express various processes or happenings or whatever. We also need containers, and by containers we mean these frames, for instance, or these bubbles, and they do have a very important role in visual teaching, because it's not about drawing nicely or being having it very cute and nice. It's much more about organizing contents, because having these containers, having these frames, it allows us to group contents and to really separate them one from another. And this we're also going to experiment with right now. We also need connectors and dividers. Connectors are, for instance, arrows or lines which connect different icons. Dividers are lines which separate meanings. Okay? If you have any questions, just ask. And something we don't need, but it just looks very nice, are some special effects I'm going to show you. We can also live absolutely without them, but they just look very nice. Okay? So this is what we're going to do right now. We're going to draw a couple of icons, couple of people, containers, dividers, connectors, and special effects. Okay? This is our curriculum for today. Okay, so let's start with icons. And now you finally need your pen and pencil. And how we're going to approach it. Here I've recorded me drawing on the screen, and I'm going to explain what you're seeing. And if there is some problem with the video, I'm also prepared to draw it here live for you. Okay, so let's try out how it works with the video. So have you prepared something too? Okay, so now we're just going to start with drawing icons. Basically, icons are organized around the basic shapes. We do have round icons, or triangle icons, or rectangular icons, and this now we're going to try out. So first we start with oval-shaped icons. We're going to draw some of them. Okay, so you can now see, and I'm going to explain. Just follow me, right? Okay, first, and I'm going to stop from time to time if you find it very fast. First, what we do now, we're going to draw a light bulb. Okay, a light bulb. And first you can draw this scribble and then write the letter T above it. Okay, and then just an oval, and the light bulb is ready. Now we're going to draw it a couple of more times, just so that the hand gets used to this step by step. You can do it faster, slower, bigger, smaller. Just experiment with the sizing to let your hand remember the way of drawing itself. Okay. Okay. With this, the first icon, the first thing we drew now is ready. Now you can prepare the highlighter, and I'm going to show you a very simple special effect now, which, as I said, it's not something necessary, but something which just looks very nice and makes with just a small touch, it makes the drawings look more professional. Okay, so take the highlighter, and here you'll be able, you just see, just by adding a small line, it looks even nicer now. Okay, okay, okay. How do you like them? Do you like your light bulbs? Mm-hmm. Okay, okay, glad to hear. Okay, I actually do see a couple of you. I actually see, yeah, I do see. So ready to proceed with the next? Okay. Okay. Now we're going to draw a clock, which can be very easily used for timing. Okay, I'm going to stop it early. Okay. And if we want, if we want to express that it's time or it's very urgent, then we can just add some scribbled lines. Please let me know if it's too fast or too slow. Okay. We're going to do it again. With each symbol, I would encourage you really to draw it a couple of times if you have the time here now, or even later, just to let your hand remember the steps as well. And this is what I just started to draw. This is like this badges or medal or what you can use. You'll see now step by step. But this is this symbol which you can use for as a reward or a badge. So this is how you can draw it. I'm also going to draw it more than once, so you can catch up with the next try. So don't get yourself stressed if you're not able to draw it with the first. I'm going to draw it again, once again. Okay. And here, couple. By the way, these are also special effects. These lines, they like add special meaning to the images. Like it's shining, it's important. Here, once again, the circle, then kind of a curved line, almost as a flower. Two straight lines. Okay. Now, what we see here is this very common sign for location, and it's actually based on the half circle and a triangle. It's a half circle and a triangle beneath it. So it's also very easy to draw. These are just some examples of how we can use the circle, the round shape, for drawing some basic icons. And here you can also take the highlighter and add some lines and see how they look like. Here beneath the clock, if you just draw this line, it kind of looks even more even more professional, let's say, like it's standing on something, the clock, okay? Just by adding a line. Okay. You can also experiment with color if you want. Here, there is no need to fill in or use extensive efforts, because visual teaching, this type of drawing, it's all about doing it fast and spontaneous and forgetting about being perfect. The positive side, or the sense of using this drawing, it's mostly about being spontaneous and adding the right image at the right time. It's not about being perfect. If we want perfect images, we could just take photos, pictures, show pictures of classical painters, whatever. But here it's also about giving up being perfect, much more being perfect. Okay, and then we can continue with rectangle shaped icons. Up to now, do you have any questions, concerns? How does it go? Give me some feedback, please. It's okay. Okay, I see you. Okay.
It's really fun.
It's really fun. Okay. Anyone, any questions, frustrations? Okay. Okay, then. Ready to continue with the rectangle shaped icons? Okay. 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 What we're going to do here now is a really simple shape, which is going to illustrate a calendar, which I use, this symbol I use very often when I have to use the term deadline, for instance. Even when I take my notes, just write it and write down the date and then the deadline. Or here another type, again, calendar, but a little bit more sophisticated, let's say. Just adding this with this small, and then adding some pages, like looking even more real, let's say. Okay. Now, a letter, which I use quite often for information, for instance, or and if we add, yes, the @ it might stand for an email, for instance. If it gets too fast, let me know. I can stop it as well. Here, this rectangle, this can be used as money, as a symbol for money, for cash. Okay. And this is a very simple flag, which can show also, like here, a curved one, which can stand for instance, in history, different events in history, for instance, on a timeline, just milestones. Okay. And here again, we can use the highlighter. You can add, for instance, a line for a shadow, or here just this addition to make it alive. Okay, ready? Ready? Now we're going to do a couple of triangle shaped icons, and then we proceed with drawing people, which is really fun. Okay. Okay, ready? Triangle shaped icons. Okay. First, we're going to draw another flag for another flag for a milestone. Okay. And then we're going to draw a diamond, which can be also a very nice symbol for treasure, for something, for value, for something very, important, let's say. So how to draw a diamond? First, just draw this line, okay? Then you connect the 3 upper dots with a line and the 4 dots again with a line, okay? And then you just put a dot somewhere, in the middle here, which we then connect with this. Okay. Okay. And then we can also let it shine, of course, with some special effects. Okay. Something I like very much drawing, what we're going to draw now, is this paper plane. And it looks complicated, but it goes really easy. You first draw an angle, okay? And then you also put 2 lines here, but you do not, it looks like a triangle, but the 3rd line is broken. Okay, it's not full. Okay. And then you just connect here. Here you make a little angle again, and you connect. Okay. And then another final touch is here, this small line. Okay. This is a bit more complicated, this one. So I need it personally, maybe to do it 20 times till I got it. So if some of you didn't manage to do it well from just the first time, don't be desperate. And here we can also draw the way with blue. Here once again. It's not about perfection. It's really should also look spontaneous and imperfect for me. Okay. Again, we use some color. Okay, ready? Okay, then we proceed. So what we've done up to now is we drew the icons. Now it gets really fast. What we're going to draw now are people, one type of people, and we're going to see how we can also draw groups of people. Okay, ready? Okay, Scribble people. I love them very much because they're really fun and easy to draw. And how you draw Scribble people is you just start by drawing a couple of scribbles, okay, which are actually going to be the torsos of our people. Okay, just scribble a couple of them. And what we then need is a circle for a head and 2 sticks for the arms and 2 sticks for the legs. This is how easy it is. Okay. And then we can play around with the sticks. move up and down, see what happens, just experiment a bit. Maybe we can even curve them a bit, add some circles for hands and legs, let them jump, fly, whatever we decide. Okay, this one is going to dance. Okay. And then again, we can add some lines for expressing the movement, some color. Let's see how it works. Here we can play a little bit with the color, and for instance, create some space to put this guy on. For instance, create like a stage just by adding 3 lines. Actually, would you like to show me your pictures? How do you feel looking at your pictures? How is it? Okay. Now I do see you. So if you don't mind, would you please hold up? Okay. Okay, great. Great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So, ready to proceed? Okay, we're going to draw a couple of now groups of people. Okay. Sometimes when we need to express, for instance, to express a story or a process or an important event, we do need also to draw groups of people. The easiest way I know is just this way. Just this could be it. And if one cannot get what this actually is, we can just write it down as well. This is very important to know. When using images for visual teaching, it's definitely not about using images by themselves. We always need the image and the text as well. It might be written, the text, or it might be us explaining what this actually is. It's about adding another layer of communication. Okay, so it's not just about fooling around with images and then having the students being confused about what this actually is. It's adding another layer of meaning so that it's easier to grasp. Okay, so sometimes when we start using images, we tend to let people guess. So and ask it, okay, please let me. Do you know what this is? And it's it's quite easy to confuse them even more by asking like that. It's very important that we're clear. So if it's not clear what this is, we just write it down. For instance, this might be, for instance, a team. And we write down, this is a team, or this is class A, or this is first grade or third grade, or whatever. It's really important for me about being clear. It's not about using images just for the sake of themselves. Okay. Here, a group of 2, for instance, a couple, or let's form a group of 2, and then let's form a group of 4. And if we want them to be even a bigger group, a crowd, then we just add some more circles. Okay. And here another way of drawing, really easy a group of people with this. And adding some heads. And if it's not clear what this is, we could let them hold a banner and then just write what this is, for instance, or just say hello. And then, by the way, after this session, I'm also going to send you the videos in the whole presentation. So if you find it interesting and didn't manage to draw it all, you will have these tutorials as well. Okay. Okay, and again, we're going to add some color. Okay. Okay. What we've drawn up to now is the icons, the people, the containers. Because we do not really have a lot of time, what I would suggest is that I will send you anyway here the videos that you do the containers and all by yourself, if you agree. Would you love to do this? The containers and the dividers. And then, because we could use the last 10 minutes of the session, I would love to let you think a little bit, brainstorm about how we can use this method for, and just show you a couple of examples from my work. Would you prefer to keep on drawing? What would you like?
Practical examples.
Examples. Okay. Then we just, this is what I thought too. So here you will then see also the containers, how to draw them, and afterwards dividers and connectors. This is something what you can do for sure. Also by yourselves, you don't need me, especially as a dictator. So the special effects we saw already, a couple of them. And now, here's some examples from my work. This is, for instance, when I have to say, I work mostly with adults. I teach adults usually in communication techniques or presentation skills and also visual thinking. And this was, for instance, I had to illustrate the process of designing a training. And these were, anyway, 4 stages, how to plan a training. And at some point I saw that they don't really get it. And I decided spontaneously to use the example of recipe, how to bake a lava cake. This was really something I drew in the coffee break. And I then decided to illustrate the ingredients and then the process, and then really getting so good that you can really experiment and juggling with the lava cake. So I think by adding this story, this visual story about how to bake a lava cake and then drawing it very spontaneously, people were able also to grasp the process, the model of 4 steps. This is another example. Or another example, I quite often use drawing when I have to sum up what's happening up to now. Here, for instance, this was a training in communication. You see the start, step by step, first, second, the roadmap, and then just write down some important thoughts. Here you see the Scribble person. Here I drew a brain, and then add sticky notes to explain some things. Or here an exercise, for instance, for after a training or a learning session or a lesson, then to give students or participants the task to explain this to a CEO, director of a company, to a 7-year-old child, and to a grandmother of 80 years. Okay, and here a mind map. I'm sure some of you use it. This is just an example of how I use mind maps. I very often use mind maps as when I plan a learning session. This is actually my plan. It's in Bulgarian, but it's just to see the structure. That mind map, of course, can also be used as a planning tool. And this is how I plan, for instance, my trainings. And what I would love to invite you now to think that each of you really spontaneously, just to write down for a minute the ideas that come into your mind, what really very specific you might use this skill for, or you think of a teacher in geography could use this skill for, and just write down a couple of ideas of examples. And after this 1 minute, I would love to spread you for another 4 or 5 minutes into small groups of 3-4 colleagues to discuss a little bit and then come back. Okay? So, Zori, if you're okay, this would take altogether another 10 minutes. Do we have this time? Okay, okay. So I would love to invite you now really to write down any ideas that come into your mind from your experience, that you have used images or that you now have ideas of how to use them, really very specific ideas, and to write them down for you. And then I'm going to divide you into small groups, okay? Stop sharing. Okay. So if you're ready, I would love to spread you now into 3 groups. It might take up to 30 seconds, a minute for you to land in the group, okay, depending on the speed of your internet. But you'll have then all together 4 to 5 minutes in the group, just to share spontaneously the ideas you've just thought of, okay? Okay. Okay.
Here we are. So, any ideas for immediate use in a classroom?
Well, to just give a faster explanation of key points to remember, just to have the topics in images instead of writing long sentences. Just giving an image for example, if it's geography, giving an image for this lake, for this town, for this area. So each one has an image, and then this image really describes the place pretty well. So the same can be for a historical figure, for literature. So that's what first comes, but also the students can propose images themselves for this, and there can also be something like just a task to every student to draw their favorite images from this lesson and to propose them to the class, so they can exchange ideas the images and topics.
Yeah. Would it be easier to remember a line of years, a succession of years of historical events, for example, if they are marked with flags and a timeline, and probably some major figures, just as a face with a crown on top, and yeah, making the children do the small drawings in their notebooks would also help them probably to make that connection between the ear, the image, the figure that is really special for that period. But yeah, supporting this side of memory and this side of us being learners and humans, the visual side, is obviously beneficial for quite a few of the children that we work with. How did you feel while Svetla was asking us to draw different things? Did you feel comfortable with just taking a pen or a marker or whatever and drawing something?
Yes, I was feeling very comfortable and relaxed. I think we all are starting to draw little things when we are listening to someone talking, or when we are trying to write down the main ideas from a presentation, for example. I think we all start doing little drawings.
Yeah, and yeah, please go ahead, Anna.
Yeah, and I think it helps us remember more the idea that was being talked about in that moment, if we attach a little drawing to that idea.
Yeah, and we have, as Ina mentioned in the beginning, we have these workshops with children where from 5 to 6, 2 times during the week, where we create stories. And not in connection with this project or with Svetla's approach, but as children were starting to say something, I was also at the same time drawing little sketches of what they were talking about and just showing the image because we're working online. And then they were invigorated to create a continuation of the story and talk some more. And they were really involved in what we were doing just by adding some images. I have one here, for example, that I can show. This is 2 of the girls coming back from school last week, and they were just fighting with the wind and the rain under the same umbrella. So just small things that obviously create an impression.
Yes.
Yeah. Any other ideas? Would it require something special if you decide to use it in a classroom, besides the whiteboard and some markers?
No, I
Not
don't
really,
think
no?
Not only some imagination.
Yeah. And probably some practice with
Yes.
just listening to information and then doing little sketches so that it becomes a reflex.
Too short time.
I know. I know. Sorry for that. It was always too short.
Just warming us up.
Yeah, but still, would you love to share maybe really 2 or 3 ideas from your discussions? Maybe, I don't know, maybe 1 person per group, just really to share some ideas that might be also an impulse for the others as well. First, who would like to share? Just spontaneous, it doesn't have to be something really organized.
Well, in our group, we were discussing how we can add some visuals to a geography class, like where things are positioned or what type of industry is available here and there. Mm-hmm. And then maybe in history, we can attach some images to major years, really important years and figures, just drawing the figure and with the flag, the year, and asking the children to redraw the thing in their own way, so that they have both the the information they heard and a visual of the information in their notebooks.
Okay. Thank you, Zoe. Okay. Right. Anyone else?
So that's for the introduction of new knowledge.
Yes.
So, you know, it's a very vast topic
Mm.
and can be introduced in different, you know, stages of a class. So it's with different styles, different different types of
Mhm.
students, autistic or disabled or, I know.
Yeah, I know it's a huge topic and it's a huge field of implementation from my perspective as well. This is why I just got maybe glimpse or ideas or impulses. This is just to mention one or two ideas from your groups. Would like to share also maybe one or two ideas from their group.
So I will speak for my group.
Okay.
If I understood well what we have been discussing about, it seems that there are some subjects which are much more, let's say, easier to be in using drawings, like geography, and also some, I would say, concepts or ideas, something which is like the structure in a process. So you can use drawings in order to represent all the different steps of that process, which can be the water cycle, for example, or something which is layered, like the feudal system. You can use all the drawings in order to represent all the different steps, all the different moments within a process. So in this case, it is even easier to use drawings.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for this perspective. Yes, it's really, as also Elsa said, it's a vast topic, and it gives huge field of implementation, not only for input but also, you know, like illustrating complicated processes. Okay. Someone else wanting to add something or sharing from their group experience?
Okay, Ralu, can you tell us about visualization?
Okay.
Because it's, you know, something, a new strand.
Visualization is something very general, and we can use a lot of ways to visualize. Here today, and I have a question actually, because here today we saw a technique of sketching, teaching initial things to someone that doesn't know anything about drawing, but it's more specific than drawing, because this is sketching. Drawing is larger.
Yes.
So everyone, when we start learning drawing, we will start learning sketching. This is a comic-like style sketching that makes easier to make abstract ideas or visualize objects or general information or specific information in symbols, little symbols. And what I said in my group is that I can easily, because for me this is more a technique than a method, in my perception, I can, and more or less everyone that has been in a teaching or in a presentation is using it already. Also teaching music, which I did 25 years ago, I used visualization because music is so abstract, and when children are so young, sometimes you need to visualize when you teach theory of music, for example. So my idea was that mostly, probably in classes, that when we have people that are dyslexic, for example, it's easier to ask them to visualize something instead of writing down or speaking at this moment. Sometimes it's more, or people that have not very light autism, Asperger syndrome, again, that when it's easier for them to use visualization. And also this is, if this technique provides, I don't know, a list of basic symbols that can be used and transferred, it's easy to transfer it, to transfer it in almost every subject. Of course, I agree with Antonio, and I have to say that because I'm a newcomer in the project and I studied all the information provided to me these last 2 days, I have some questions more general. I believe that the content of a lesson can actually define or determine also which kinds of instruments, tools we can use. It's not said that if we develop a certain methodology or provide certain tools from music or from drawing or from visualization can be applied in every kind of knowledge. So one has to take under consideration every time when develops or deciding to use what is more appropriate or is more useful, because if I understand well our this project is we want to support, this is a question actually, we want to support teachers, or we want also to give them a possibility to teach specific knowledge in their classrooms. Because for me this is different, and it can change completely the way that these tools, methods, it's not clear to me yet what is presented actually, because so far this presentation for me was a technique and not a method. And the previous one, which had the storytelling, it wasn't very clear to me. And I'm sorry I didn't take the speech, but because it's my first time, I didn't know how it happens. I'm really, because I had a story, it wasn't very clear to me how the storytelling will be a method applied in teaching. Will teachers be trained to create on how they should create stories relevant to their subjects? What are the elements they should include? Do we suggest and propose really that the methodology is a story that we provide and then a test for evaluation that really makes us also certain that we have provided the right story? Because not every teacher is able to create stories, or we give a series of stories that more for each subject. I don't know, I say just the things that I thought of reading and watching, reading the material and watching the, and finally, what I don't understand, and also as part of EuroEd, and I said this to my supervisor, who is very kind to let me participate to this project, is what kind of methods have the partners to produce? Because the titles that are given in the guide, there is reference to teaching through music, teaching with music, teaching with visualization. Is this the method, the title of a method? Because for me, it's really a huge space where you can have a lot of methods with different names. So each partner, it's called to create in these huge spaces, areas, methods for teaching. And it's a question also, because so far I couldn't get this exactly from the examples. I didn't get the impression of a method that can be applied, provided, trained to train teachers, and then applied in a classroom for a specific acquirement of a knowledge, for a specific knowledge. For example, of course, in the first case, for example, in the storytelling, we have information about a specific cave, which can be a part of a history lesson or even of a cultural lesson, I don't know, for different cultures. And you have provided information. And I have another parameter here. What is, because there is also the time aspect when we teach in a classroom, where classrooms in Greece, for example, it's 45 minutes, 40, I don't remember anymore how much, but it wasn't 1 hour, a whole hour. So to make the narration, if it takes longer just for one subject, for example, in a teaching hour, and it depends also of the age, because I didn't understand, for example, this story was addressed to which ages, 5 to 8?
I'm sorry, but I need to interrupt you, because you asked such a long questions, and it is impossible for me to answer them all.
I'm sorry, really, you have to stop me.
Yes.
But Ina, have you noticed her enthusiasm?
Yes, I love it.
She loves the project.
My idea was that's what Zori started with, to develop in advance a list of frequently asked questions. So now that you got just a glimpse of 1, 2, 3 methods, I mean, it's not even a method, it's a tool that we're presenting. It's we were aiming at providing the teachers with a toolbox that they can use for different lessons, but we also wanted to work with teachers who had a specific material, because I've heard and I have seen people teaching mathematics with the help of storytelling, writing stories, and that was what I gave was an illustration, not a whole chapter developed, but my idea was to have a teacher who would be an expert in one subject and will give us one a part of the curriculum.
A chapter?
A unit.
A unit. Thank you. A unit, and we can try and develop lessons with it. So because I'm not an expert in any of the subjects that we can cover, and we're 5 countries, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 schools per country, so it's a vast material that we're supposed to cover. So if we just give a very good explanation of the tools and inspiring enough for the teachers to try and test it. And probably in your country, people are using storytelling or sketching. In our country, that's not exactly always the case. So probably what we're saying, and what we started with 2-3 meetings ago, was that we're not providing anything. We're not providing a revolution in education, and given the scope of the project, that would be too ambitious. But I was just aiming at helping teachers with some tools.
I understand this, and the story was very, actually it was very succeeded, because I wasn't in the first meeting, so I didn't know the story at all. And when I saw this, I heard the second story, I could answer all of the questions, and I can say that the answers were correct. So it's a successful example. But what I don't understand in a practical level is whether this teaching through storytelling, there are probably, I guess, as I said, it seems to me quite big, this area, teaching through storytelling. So what you propose with this, it's just a part of it, and there could be others also, other methods with storytelling. And when we propose this, for example, it will be the tools that you will provide will be specific stories for each situation, or the ability to teachers to make stories,
or inspiration, and and to some extent the ability of teachers to write stories or to teach with sketches. Because let me say again, I know some of the teachers in my country, they don't use it a lot, and I know it's quite useful even to inspire their students to take notes, visual notes. Yes.
Yeah. If I may also add, Ralu, what you just saw and what you have received as videos, for example, on Saturday or Monday, this is just a small part of what is going to be included as a description in each of these tools. So there is a lot more information going to be attached as the logic, the structure behind how you organize the process if you decide to use one tool or another. And we are not going to have only these free tools, we are going to have other tools from the partners as well. The only requirement towards those tools is that they spark inspiration in the teacher to use something slightly different in their way of conducting a class, to spark creativity in them, because they need to imagine this different approach towards the educational content. We can show them different examples. We can try to lead them through the process, but in the end, it's going to be the decision of each specific teacher, what will be best for my class, what I can manage to use because I feel confident with it. So, and we are going to give the examples, because as we have entitled them laboratories, those are going to be tests of where a certain tool has been used with a certain class and how it worked. Mm-hmm. And we are going to provide these units, for example, for 5th grade, this unit has been taken and has been transformed and translated through the use of music or visual tools or flipped classroom or whatever tool we decide to use. Does this answer to some extent?
Yes,
can I just add something as well? The way that we foresee it and how what the laboratories are going to be about and how the methods are going to be developed, they're going to be developed with the help of teachers.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's a good point. A very good point.
So we, and this is described in one of the documents that is in the folder, I believe, on Dropbox, if I'm not mistaken. So there you can see a step-by-step and the content of the guidebook as we see it at this point. So we'll have teacher experts for different subjects that are included so far, the ones that we see that could make use of some of the methods that we're discussing now, that will work together with the so-called expert for each method. So they will be working together as a team to develop it. So the tools, as you named them, will be in that toolbox, but they will be developed for certain curriculum units with the help of teacher experts. And then they're going to be live tested so that for each subject, you have a variety of methods that you can use. In the end, you can test if they work or if they don't. Then we'll get feedback and then the process continues.
Mm-hmm. Thank you a lot for your answer. I read the material and it was very clear to me while I was reading it. When I watched the videos, I had the more of the questions. That's where it was less coherent to me, because it really, I missed the part of the teaching approach to this methodology and how we can really finally, can we apply music in that way or in this way it will be, this is what actually created the question marks in my head, because when I read the text, the things were more clear and it was more clear what it will be presented, though it's still, that's why I did the separation of technique, tool and method, because they are different things. One is bigger from the other and they get easy to develop. But now it's more clear and I understand we are speaking, it's the first step and we are still speaking and this is going to develop. Yes. And I wanted to clarify this small thing, that under these three titles, if it means that all partners can create, for example, a methodology using music, but another methodology, because like this, or naming and teaching with music is not a methodology, it's a suggestion, it's an area.
It is
or just a framework.
Yes, a framework.
Which integrates the abstractions.
Yes.
So that's how I see at least the storytelling. It's a device which makes me integrate the new things into a story. And the story helps me retain and explain and clarify new points.
Yeah.
One side probably only.
Thank you.